So a lot of certainty about what comes next. Earlier we spoke to Nadim Houry, the executive director of the think tank Arab Reform Initiative. He gave us his reactions.
To be honest, my first reaction is this is a happy day for the Syrians. A regime that has tortured, disappeared, killed, executed, used chemical weapons on its own people is no more. We can analyze. We know the road ahead is going to be very challenging. Syria is very complex internally, but also complex regional dynamics. But I think it's important to recognize and to see the happiness and the agency that the Syrian population is feeling today.
Yeah, now HTS, it ran the government of Idlib via the Syria Salvation Government. Activists, media reports, local monitors, depending on who you listen to, accused HTS of not tolerating dissent. But for years now, the group has also tried to present itself as a credible caretaker. Which is it? What do you make of HTS and what to expect?
Look, like many things in Syria, it's complicated. There's no doubt that on the one hand, HTS is a direct descendant from al-Nusra, the jihadist group, and they've committed many human rights violations. But it's also very true that in the last 3-4 years, Julani, which actually now goes by not his nom de guerre, he's back to being called Ahmed al-Shara, has proceeded in a way to, quote unquote, cleaning up HTS, got rid of maybe some of the most radical elements, and has so far shown over the last 11, 12 days a discipline that, frankly, none of us initially expected. Which is it?
Sorry
to
interrupt.
Answer is we don't know.
Can you elaborate on that point? What he's done over the past few days, whether it was this lightning offensive or trying to speak with civilians on the ground, what has the leader of HTS been displaying in terms of something that might have been unexpected?
To be honest, 3 things were unexpected. On the military side, no one expected the lightning. Anyone who tells you they expected this scenario over the last 11 days would be lying to you. 12 days ago, high-level officials were all in Europe, in the US, were all talking about normalizing with Bashar al-Assad. So there's a level of efficiency, of discipline, of the troops acting sort of under one command, which we hadn't seen before in Syria. So that was striking. And yes, the messaging, the sort of public relations aspect of Ahmed al-Shara, also known as Julani, sending different messages, both to different internal communities, but also to regional countries, be it Iraq, be it Lebanon, unexpected. But perhaps what was most unexpected is so far, and let's hope it continues that way, is the troops have been mostly well-disciplined on the ground. I mean, all of us feared that chaos when a city like Homs or Damascus would fall, because this is a city where the Syrian regime had committed atrocities against many of these rebel groups in the past, and there were desires for vengeance. But what we saw is an orderly transition. We saw that in Aleppo, but we saw something similar in Hama, Homs, and overnight in Damascus. So many of us are still trying to understand exactly what's happening. But this is definitely surprising. The fact that there was some negotiated settlement with the current prime minister, that the taking over of these terrible prisons and detention facilities like Sidnaya, where massive human rights violations were taking place, happened in an orderly fashion. Ministries were not destroyed, files were not burned, exactions against loyalists to Bashar al-Assad or members of the minority so far have not taken place. So I think this is encouraging. We need to better understand exactly what's happening. And I think this begins by centering the agency of Syrians and not just looking at this conflict again through the prism of, the West, Turkey, Israel, Iran, but actually listen to what the Syrians want and try to accompany them in what will definitely be a challenging process.
Yeah, and the agency of Syrians it's very difficult. You have Kurds, Armenians, Assyrians, Christians, Druze, Alawite, Shiite, Sunnis. Sunnis being the majority, what will the minorities of Syrians be feeling at this moment?
Look, I haven't done an opinion poll, but I can tell you over the last 24 hours, I saw not just Sunnis dancing and singing in the streets, but also Druze, Christians. We saw minorities in the city of Salamiyya as well, welcoming that. Are there some minorities, but frankly, even members of the Sunni majority that are very concerned and worried about what these new rulers will do? Of course. But I think we're gonna. I don't want to engage in this. Well, what do the minorities want? Frankly, it's not like the Assad regime, which portrayed itself as the defender of minorities, had not tortured, kidnapped, disappeared members from the minorities. The Assad regime used the minorities, instrumentalized the minorities for its own benefit. I don't want to paint an overly rosy picture, but I actually also feel that is our obligation to the Syrians today to allow them to celebrate the lifting of this.